So listen, I was sitting in the car the other day, and I was having a conversation with someone I've known for a very long time. You know, somebody you love that's really like family, right? And you know where you see exactly what they need to do, and you try to be patient, but they're just not doing it. And when you're talking to them, you're choosing your words carefully, not attacking them, just trying to help them see what you're seeing, and they're not trying to hear you, or they're hearing you, but nothing's going to change about it. And I could just feel something rising in me. A little frustration. I was a little exhausted, and then it hit me. There's this phrase that says, "You can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you." Before somebody says that I'm saying just to bandit people, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying to cut people off and build your own little tribe and go in your own little bubble. Hold it for 1 second. That's not it. Because I know Jesus ate with sinners, and I know Paul talks about bearing one another's burdens, right? But we're supposed to be patient. But there's also wisdom in Scripture about the company we keep, right? Proverbs says, walk with the wise and become wise. First Corinthians, bad company corrupts good character, something like that, right? That's not about being judgmental. That's about recognizing that proximity has power. So when people hear that phrase, sometimes they hear abandonment, about changing people. But let me just be honest with you, man. The first part, you can't change the people around you. That's just acknowledging reality. You cannot force someone to grow, to heal, to take responsibility, to stop the same destructive patterns they've been running for years. I mean, we're talking about their whole life. You can't do that. And I'm not talking about giving up on, after one conversation. I'm talking about that moment when you realize that you've had the same conversation for years with people. I mean, to the point you just really get exhausted, and you've offered help, you've offered grace, and there is no movement. Or worse, when the dynamic is actively hurting you. Like you feel that. You ever like you love someone, you want them to change, and it hurts you because you're trying to help them and they're not hearing you. I mean, literally, when you're pouring into a relationship and that's draining you, I mean, it's pulling you backwards and you keep feeling stuck. Now, the second part, but you can change the people around you. That's about agency. That's literally about recognizing that you do have a choice about who has access to you. Who gets your time, your energy, and I'm big on energy. Who gets to share some of your emotional bandwidth? And you're not trying to be cruel or nothing like that. I mean, you're just really being intentional about stewardship and your own life. You know what I'm talking about, right? So here's my confession. I've been in places where I've stayed way too long. I've stayed in friendships past expiration dates because I felt guilty, because I didn't want to be that person. I'm thinking about specific relationships. I'm talking people I love, but relationships where I was constantly managing their emotions, constantly being smaller so that they could feel bigger, constantly defending my wins because they couldn't celebrate them. And the whole time I'm telling myself, be patient, be gracious. They're just going through something. But at what point does your compassion for their season become complicity in your own stagnation? Now, I had this one friendship where every conversation became about their problems. I don't have a problem really with that. But every time I shared something good about myself, that was like a subtle shift. This deflection back to their struggle. And if I offered perspective, I was being too judgmental. I didn't understand. I was lucky. And for a long time, I made myself smaller. I mean, I stopped sharing my good news. I downplayed opportunities. And I'm thinking, why am I apologizing for growth? Why am I shrinking so someone else can stay comfortable, right? But here's the one thing, y'all. We all have people in our lives who drain us. We all have people we love who are not good for us right now. And there's this guilt that comes with acknowledging that, this fear of being seen cold. But what if the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for them is to create space? What if constantly rescuing someone is preventing them from hitting the bottom they need to hit to finally change? And think about it for a second. Jesus didn't chase down every person who walked away. When the rich young ruler couldn't let go of his wealth, Jesus let him walk away. He didn't lower the standard. He just let him go. Because you can't love someone into wholeness who doesn't want to be whole. I mean, honestly. So here's what I'm learning. You can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you. You can be intentional. You can be selective. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? That's loving yourself enough to know that your life, your time, your energy, these things matter. And you get to decide who they're spent with someone who's confident and they're knowing where they're going requires them to be intentional about who's coming with them. Man, I'm telling you, I'm being honest with you, man, I'm still figuring this thing out. But I know this, the people closest to you will either lift you or limit you. So if anything, just make sure you choose well. That's all I got in Rick Party's notebook.